Hello, good morning. Good morning, this is Rose Shelton. We're here today for the first official day of the new series, Understanding the Power of Your Mind. It's the I Am Mind series. And in this series, what we're focusing on is man knowing himself. And a little bit about who I am. One, I am what I do, licensed, certified counselor, national and state. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm using a lot of my credentials both in my clinicals, but also in my personal experiences, my personal spiritual experiences. And I kind of combine them in order to come to a very unique understanding and unique perspective and understanding of who I am as well as who God is. And so I've been asked to share some of my unique perspectives and some of the understanding and the wisdom and knowledge that I've come into. And so that is what this series is about. The understanding of man himself, knowing who he is. And this is the I Am Mind series. Good morning. Hi, Stark. Hi, Rashonda. Hello, Dalton and Glenn. So first off, before we start, today the topic is really going to be about the science of God. And so I'm going to use my own personal experience in understanding the science of God. And I often use myself as an example so that people can kind of look back on their own lives and see kind of where like God and the universe has been speaking to them and where they're kind of molded, where they may have fallen off on some things, may have changed their minds and their thoughts and belief systems, and how they can recreate those thoughts, those experiences in order to come into the fullness of who they really truly are and walk into the wholeness and the perfection that their creator has made them. So before we start, I want to just read the definition of law, because it's going to play an important part in what we're going to do. So law, the definition of law in the Oxford Dictionary says the system of rules which a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the actions of its members, a rule defining correct procedure or behavior, a statement of fact deduced from observation to the effect that a particular natural or scientific phenomenon always occurs if certain conditions are present. Always occurs if certain conditions are present. And that's very important to understand law, the definition of law, because God is law. The process of creation is law. There is nothing that does not operate in accordance or outside of its law and its nature. And so what happened with me and learning the science of law, I literally was in a science class. So I was in 6th grade. And I kind of told you about some of the thoughts and the doubts and the questions and confusion I had as a kid growing up in school and in church. And I had all these questions. And I really doubted this whole thing about God and about church and all this other stuff. I really didn't know or understand what everyone was saying. It didn't make any sense. And what I was seeing in people's lives versus what they were saying, it was a huge contradiction. So I had tons of questions. So I'm in 6th grade, and the school that I was going to 6th grade was considered junior high. And excuse my voice, I've been sick all weekend. I tried my darndest to make sure I had a voice halfway decent enough to make sure we have this class today. I did not want to miss starting off. I did not want to not follow through with my words. So excuse my voice if it sounds a little rough. But back to my story. So in the 6th grade, which is considered junior high at the school I was going to, I'm in this science class. And this guy, he's sitting up front, this big bearded guy, he's the science teacher. And he starts to tell us these stories, and so that we could better understand science, all the things he's going to talk about, all the things he's going to cover, and of course the goals and the purpose of the science class, what he wants us to get out of it at the end of the course. And he's talking about natural science, and he's talking about quantum physics, and he's talking about chemistry, and he's talking about how they all work together. He's talking about how we're energy, how the unseen creates that which is seen. So everything that we touch, everything that has matter, whether it be the desk, whether it be the wind, whether it be the trees, everything is manifested from something that you cannot see. The atoms and the neutrons and the nucleus of these protons, and all of this has a coding. All of this has a law and a path and a pattern that it always follows. It follows a law, a process, a pattern. And no matter what, this process, this pattern, this unseen process and pattern manifests something, materializes something every time. So what he was saying is A plus B always equals C unless there is an additional element added to the process that changes the outcome from it not being C but something else. But there's usually one thing that's always consistent, and that is the process. The process of creation, the process of manifestation is perfect. It's absolute. It operates by law. It cannot change. It is, it will be, it was, and can never change. And I'm sitting there listening to him, and as he's sitting there in front of me and to the left of me, in my mind, I'm seeing this spirit manifesting, and he's literally like teaching at the same time. The teacher is teaching in the flesh, and he starts to correlate everything the teacher is saying to all the questions I ever had about who God is. Hey, Greg, David, Ronald, Dean, Kevin, hey guys. So he's literally correlating. The spirit in my mind is correlating everything this teacher is saying to all the questions that I had about God. And so now all these things, everyone's always telling me, well, just have faith. Well, just believe. I finally understood what I was having faith in, how I could actually believe, and what I was actually believing in, and that it was real, that there is something that is not tangible, that is manifesting and creating everything that is tangible. And so in science class, I learned the science of God, of the universe, of nature, of everything that is. And I was just amazed how it was literally unfolding. And I was like, okay, this can't be in science class, right? I'm sixth grade in science class, and I'm understanding God more here than I have in church and studies and all these other things. But it was perfect alignment. A plus B always equals C. So I'm having this aha moment that, okay, I can have faith in the process. The process of creation is absolute. I now understand what I'm having faith in. But I didn't understand, well, then how come A plus B does not always equal C? If the only reason it ever changes is because I add some other element, what other element is causing the creation of my life and other people's lives to not equal the perfection of C? So I started to think, of course, as not just in sixth grade, but as I'm moving through my life. And I realized that it's not just the process of creation that's perfect. Everything has a law and a nature and is perfect in the way that it operates. But in the process of creation, there are two elements. It is I, and it is the Father. It is I, and it is the universe. I don't care what you call it. It doesn't really care. Like, God doesn't need you to call it a specific name. The universe doesn't need you to believe in all of its scientific truths. The law of gravity doesn't need you to believe it in order for it to be gravity. So I don't really care what you call anything. Names mean nothing. It's the understanding of the process and moving into the fullness of the process that really matters. Because this whole path is really about us learning about us in this process of perfection and creation. So whatever you call A, universe, God, whatever, it is perfect in its process. And it doesn't matter if you're going through science or if you're using spiritual text. There is no spiritual text, whether it be the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Bhagavad Gita, whatever it is, it's telling you that God itself is, was, and always will be. That is the law. It cannot change its mind. It cannot change its process. So A, we already know. And if we don't know, all we have to do is learn science or learn, a spiritual text and get involved in really understanding that in order for us to understand God or creation and the perfection of that. What changes is who we are. We are the variable that has been given the gift of will. We have the gift of choosing what we will be, what we will think, how we will behave. We have that gift, that choice to change from being B to being a B, a C, B, or whatever it is that we want to be, or whatever it is that we think we are. But the law of creation, the law of God or universe, it cannot fail in what it is. It is perfect in its own way. And it is absolute, no matter what religion, no matter what culture, no matter what country, no matter what planet you're on. A is absolute. I can have faith that A will always be in accordance to the law and nature it has told me. And it has shown me in the winds, in hurricanes, in sun, in the days coming every day back to back. It's shown me its perfection for thousands of years, and science has studied it. Religions have written about it for thousands of years, and it has been absolute. The only thing that's changed and it's a variable is me, the man in the equation, the B factor in the A plus B equals C, perfection of process, perfection of creation. So if man is the only thing that impacts creation to manifest something contradictory to what it really desires, then man has to know itself in order to change the outcome of its life. People pray for God to do things. They beg God to do things. They keep trying to figure out God and putting all these things on God, God, God. No, baby, it's us. That is the scariest thing in the world, to know that you are so powerful that you have the same power as God in the equation to create, but you don't know who you are, so you're using your power of creation unintentional and haphazardly, creating what it is you do not desire. You have that power. That was one of the scariest things that I realized in my life, is that I have no excuse. There is no contradictory thought that God has about me. He already sees me in his perfection. Because if I'm in the likeness and image of God, let's go back to that. If I'm in the likeness and image of God, who is God, right? Because that's where the start is. When I'm trying to figure out who I am, I go back to my creator, because I'm a reflection of that creation. The tree does not go to the wind to find out who it is. The squirrel does not go to the bird to find out who it is. It goes to it goes back to its creation, to the place that birthed it, the place that gave it breath and likeness, the place that knows it. So I go back to my creator and I figure out from the basics of who I am, what I do, what is my power, and how do I operate. Because that was one of the things when everyone was saying, well, have faith and do this. How? How do I have faith? How do I trust in something I don't understand? How? You're telling me to do these things and do it. How? First of all, you got to figure out what is the power that has been given to me from my Creator. So let's look at the Creator. If we take science out of it, because I know most people are religious and spiritual people. So let's go to that part of it. If we go to any religious text that talks about in the beginning, it tells us how God created. Well, how did God create? Well, he thought an idea of what he was going to create. He thought and meditated on that thought. And then it manifested into being. He thought an idea. It formed in his consciousness of his being. It had an imprint of who he is. And he named himself good. So it was imprinted with good. And therefore, everything he creates is in the likeness and image of him. It's in the likeness and image of his good, the likeness and image of his consciousness of creation, and the likeness and image of the ability to think a thought, meditate on that thought, and then it manifests into being. And resting, knowing that creation that I birthed out of me is good, is beneficial, will bring everything that I say that it should. That's who we are. Creation that is good, that is perfect, that has the ability to see a thing in mind, a thought form from that, speak a thing, and it manifests. Whoa, that's me, right? Hey, Donna. Hey, Rudy, Kevin, Greg, another Greg. So if that is who I am, that is the first place I go in understanding who I am. So we're starting to form who B is. But the problem is if B has not been operating as the element that it's supposed to, the equation is always going to mess up. So if I know that I'm the likeness and image of God and I have this power and it's equal to the Creator that has given me this power and ability, then why do I operate less than? Why am I asking him to do what I'm supposed to do? I already know his part. If I understand A and I understand the process, I know his part. I have to now walk in mine. Well, how do I do that? How, right? Questioner, how, right? So I'm going to walk you into something and then I'm going to show you what God showed me to make this super easy, right? So manifestation. I love looking at words. All words mean something. When you hear a word, when you speak a thing, always try to speak it with intention. Words mean something. Remember, you're a creator. Your words create. Your words change worlds. Your words can pull light out of darkness. Your words can move mountains. Your words can start a war or end a war. Your words have that power. Doesn't matter what your position is. Doesn't matter what you do in life. Doesn't matter if you're a mother, a CEO. Your words are the most powerful things you have in your life. Forget about anybody else's. You are the creator of your universe. He is giving you the power, just like he has the power to create a universe. He's giving you that same power to create your own universe. Before I go into understanding manifestation, I told you that I studied tons of religions. One of the things that I really loved about Zen Buddhism, and Zen is about, everyone gets caught up in Christ, in Buddha, in Muhammad. Step away from that because it limits your ability to receive greater knowledge and wisdom. Hear what I'm saying in the context and what I'm giving it to you for, so that I can open you up to an understanding that is beyond where you are right now. And I had to do that. It's very hard. So no judgment if it's hard. No judgment if you don't want to hear this part of what I'm saying. But please at least be willing to open yourself to learn and then allow yourself to do what you will with the knowledge and wisdom that I pass on. So Zen Buddhism is about understanding the difference between being and non-being. And I'm going to show you how it's really the same understanding. It's just taught in a different way, in a different religion. So about being and non-being. So being is who I am by definition of my job, of my culture, of my religion, me as a mother, as a Black woman, as, all these titles that I have. I'm being that person, right? A lot of times what we do is we pray about our beingness. Help me to be a good mother. Help me to be a good friend. Help me to be a good sister. Help me to know what I need to do as a daughter. That's your beingness. But what we actually should be doing is operating in our non-beingness, because that is God. God is a non-being that has no limits and can really not be defined. The word God, the reason that Jewish people really don't use the word God is because when you use the word God, and some other religions don't use the word God, or have some kind of like a statue or symbol of God, is because when you give God a name or word, you limit his definition to fit that definition. And then you limit him in your experiences of that definition. So if I go to a church and they beat me over the head with God, then I start to see God in the reflection of that beating and that judgment and condemnation. God has nothing to do with that. But that's how the mind works. So out of the wisdom of some religions, they've taken the word God, or they made it a symbol. Like in the Hindu religion, they have a statue of God, and it has like tons, many hands, depending on which one you see. It has hands all up and down the side. And it's supposed to reflect that there are many aspects of God. And God is in all things, has his hands in everything. So you cannot define him by one thing. So anyway, so the reason I really liked, hey, Shirley, Stacy, Philip, Shirley, is that it taught me how to meditate and disconnect from the definitions of my being and go into a meditation to connect with my non-being. In this non-being place, I'm allowing myself to connect with God so that I will know who I truly am outside of my situations, circumstances, and experiences, because that is my true nature. I am in the likeness of God. I am in the likeness of the universe. I am one with it. Just like in science, I learned that I'm a vibration. Like everything else in nature, I have a vibration that is working synonymously with the overall universe and the overall creation. I'm playing my part. So in the meditation, it's teaching you to breathe, disconnect from every thought you had, every experience and situation, and connect into your right mind of who you are. And allow that to tell you who you are and create your thoughts and your next moves, right? So it's the same thing here. When you are caught up in this process of being, in your circumstances and situations, in this process, you infest the manifestation and you cause it to be distorted, manipulated, transformed, or stretched into something contradictory to your intention. So how do I then manifest what I really want, right? Let's first understand manifestation. Look at the word manifestation. Man, I, and basically infestating, right? Man, who I am, infests whatever it is that I am. Where does the I am come from? Well, man's I am comes from his I am statements, which is why it's important to watch how you define yourself, the words that you use for yourself and for others. Because whatever law you as a creator create for you, it is true for someone else. Whatever law you create for someone else, it is true for you. So if you believe that someone that doesn't do A, B, and C should not have the greatness and the blessings and the abundance that comes with all these other things. Well, as soon as you do A, B, or C, unconsciously, because you created that law, it's for you too. You then define yourself in the limitation in the box of not having, not receiving, and not experiencing, because the judgment you put on someone else is now your own, right? You're the creator. You made this law. It's yours. So manifestation, my I am statements come from what it is I say and believe about me and about others. I am good. I am bad. I am sad. I am depressed. Whatever your I am statement is, you infested yourself with that. Because God, when he created you, you were good. You were perfect. Remember? A, perfect, only sees you in his light and in his likeness as good and perfect. So any variable that changes is on B, on me. My manifestation is based off man's infestation in the process, the perfect process of creation. The process doesn't judge you. The process doesn't tell you to choose anything different. It already told you who you were in A. The process doesn't do anything but follow its law of creation. The process says, whatever you say, baby, it shall be so. If you think it's beneficial to be that, okay, try it out. You have the ability to come back and choose something else. But I'll let you do what you want to do. It's your life. It's your gift. Do it the way you want to. Infest it however you want. Manifestation is based off the thoughts that you have, the words that you define yourself. Well, where do they come from? Well, the thoughts you have, the belief system you have, comes from the attention that you have paid to thoughts and experiences. So if your mama called you no good, if your daddy abandoned you, if the world calls you every N word or B word or C word or any other derogatory word and you buy into it, if your teacher tells you you can't do something, like my teacher told me, baby, you're black and you're a girl, you can only be a teacher or a nurse. Why do you keep coming here telling me you want to do all these things? Tell me something different. I don't know anything different. God keeps giving me these thoughts and ideas. What are you talking about? You know, that really made my grandmother hot when I told her my teacher said that. But when you have these thoughts and ideas from all of these people that try to step in the place of your creator and redefine you outside of the perfection that you truly are, and you believe it, you meditate on it. Remember, your mind, the place of creation, the place that you sit next to God and manifest. It's the most important and powerful place you have. So anytime you allow a thought, intentional or unintentional, a lot of times our parents, grandparents, teachers, pastors, politicians, those in the place of power, they're giving us messages. Some intentions are good, some intention not so good. But every time a thought is given to us, every time we go through an experience and we say, every time I turn around, something bad's going to happen. The universe says, oh, let's write that down. Every time he turns around, we got to make sure something bad happens. Because he said that I am a person that every time I turn around, something bad happens. That's your creation. That's what you keep saying. Hey, Arietta. Tommy, Lonnie, thanks for joining. So your I am statement comes from the things that you pay attention to. Remember, pay attention. Always listen to the word. I pay. I buy it. I now own it. I pay attention to words, to thoughts, and experiences. And I play with them over and over again. I meditate on them and I think about them, and they get all my power of creation. And even though I don't intend for it to remanifest, and play itself out again in another situation over and over again, because I don't know who I am and I don't know my power, I allow those things to use my power to create what I do not want. And then it creates thoughts, because sometimes life is just going to happen. You're in relationship with other people that are just as unconscious. So life is going to happen. But if you don't know the words to say to bring you back into your right mind of non-being, I am not the experience, I am not what they say. If you are not in the consciousness and awareness to do that, then you keep replaying over and over. So those things become a part of you. And so here, if I pay attention to thoughts and beliefs and experiences, I buy them. They become my I am statements of who I am, and they define me. I am guilt, I am judgment, I am condemnation. If I allow those things to define me, my I am, then when I am in creation, man, my I am manifestation impacts that creation. So let me walk it again. Sorry. What I pay attention to impacts my belief systems and the thoughts that I have that impact my I am statements and what I believe about myself. So then when I go into manifestation and in creation, into the perfect creation process with God, it impacts my relationship and my ability to create perfect manifestation. Let me say it again. What I pay attention to, the thoughts that I have, that I buy, that become who I am, that I allow to define me and become my story. Not that I have a story that I've experienced that is, not defining me, but those that have a story that allow it to define who they are. And I am these things, and I am this, and I am that. When you let those I am statements from what you have paid attention to become your I am, then it impacts the process of creation and your relationship with God in creation, and determines the manifestation in your life and experience. So, okay, right, yeah. So this is how God broke it down to me, because I was like, okay, I'm writing this down, I'm meditating and I'm getting this, but okay, what? Easy visual, right? 2 hands. One is God, perfection, right? Good, perfection. Now remember, the process itself, process of creation is perfect. It's a law. It cannot change. The element of God, the element of the universe, spirit, cannot change. It is, it was, it always will be. It cannot change its mind. It cannot be anything different. It is. Me. I have choice. I have the same power, but I can choose to be different. I can choose to think a thought. I can choose to create anything I want at any time. This hand of perfection goes into a water bowl. Just imagine this bowl. This bowl is clear. It's perfect. It's the clearest water you've ever seen. It's like Pacific. Anybody ever been down to the Pacific Ocean, down by Australia or Tahiti or Bora Bora? If you haven't, you got to go. I'm telling you, it's off the chain beautiful, right? It's like you're looking 50 feet down, but it looks like it's right there because the water's so clear. It's like glass. It's beautiful, right? So imagine a bowl like that, just water, just clear, beautiful. And God's hand, perfect, sees you, his creation, good. Oh my God. He says, woo, we're amazing. What we're going to do now, what we're going to think now, what we're about to bring forth, right? Because I have all these things that I've given to you. Like before you were placed in your mother's womb, before you were born, We sat down and said you were going to do and be and experience yourself in this life, and all these things will be offered to you and available to you. So what you bringing out? Because I got perfection right here waiting for you, and it sees you good. It don't know. It knows everything you've done, everything you said, everything you went through. It doesn't care, right? Because it sees itself in its own reflection of good. All my creation is good. So what we're about to create, Creator? Come on, co-creator, what we're about to create. In your hand has judgment, doubt, confusion, pain, suffering, all the experiences of life, all the relationship experiences. It's got all that, all muddied on it. And you say, I'm not coming in to create. I want you to clean me up. Clean you up. You're perfect. What are you talking about? Come in, let's create something great. You bring in that muddy hand of creation, and now that beautiful water looking like the Pacific Ocean down by Bora Bora and Tahiti is a muddy mess. Looks like a swamp. Not because God didn't see you as good, but because when you came in to the place of creation, you brought your doubt, you brought your confusion, you brought all the stories of every experience and every lie that's ever been told on you and to you, and every word that somebody called you. You brought all that in there. And now the process of creation is infested with man's I am statements that are contradictory to the truth of who he and what he is. And you keep saying, clean me up. No, baby. Come in here in your right mind. Come in here knowing that you are not being any of those things, that you are in relationship with me. You are equal and one with me. So you should be reflecting me when you come into the place of creation. Because if you come in the wholeness and the perfection you are, in that non-being consciousness, in that God consciousness of who and what I am, and you see yourself as worthy, you see yourself as good, you see yourself as love, as you see yourself in everything you know. Don't have to worry and wish you could be something different. You are that already. You just keep allowing yourself. And in Christianity, they also say it this way. I see myself as the head and not the tail. I see myself above and not beneath. That non-being is the head. That non-being is above. We keep coming into this equation as the tail, coming into the equation beneath the consciousness of who and what we truly are. And we muddy the process of creation. Hey, Yolanda. Hey, Lynn, Stacy, Adrian. So that which needs to change is us. We're almost out of time. I'm sorry, I'm over time. Who needs to change is us. So A plus B can change its manifestation and equal C in its perfection if B takes the time out to know itself, disconnect itself from every lie and every experience, and see itself in the reflection of truth, and its ability and its vibration, its natural nature of creation. It can be everything it's called to be. So I'm out of time, right? I'm going to cut it off here, and we're going to start again on Thursday, and I'm going to go into the mind theory. And that's going to show us why, because how is important to me, right? Why we think a thought, but cannot change that thought. And I think it was Paul that said, he was trying to talk about how the man is not the keeper of his own mind, right? Like he wants to change, but he does not know why he's doing the things he doesn't want to do, and he keeps doing the things that he's doing, right? Why, right? The questioner, once again, asks me why? And then how do I make that change? Mind theory, I'm going to help you to see how you can change those I am statements. So I don't know if this is what happened to me this morning. So I'm meditating before I come on, right? And I'm using my my Zen music, and I'm playing it, and all of a sudden I get this thought. So excuse my voice. It's not good. It's not perfect. But I want you to understand this in a context that works for you. And I want you to take this and apply it to your lives, right? So because I know I'm talking and I'm trying to cover everybody, I don't want this is not specifically to any one religion or thought or consciousness. I want everyone to really get it. So I try to make it broad, but I understand a lot of people. I have to meet you where you are, right? Like that's psychology. I meet you where you are. And so I wanted to make this applicable. So I said, okay, God, I know I'm going to bring up the context of Zen Buddhism, but I want to make sure everybody's getting it, that they have the ability to stop and meditate and think and allow spirit to speak to them instead of them speaking to spirit, right? So I'm meditating and he shows me, and I'm using my Zen music, my YouTube. I've got the consciousness music going, and I hear my grandmother sing. And my grandmother, she was Christian. She was also Native American, so we had some stuff at home going on. We didn't tell Christian people because they thought that might be wicked. But she was Native American, but she would meditate. And my grandmother was a seer, but she didn't, like my great grandmother, she could see just by, it just comes. But my grandmother, she would sometimes pray and meditate and then it would come. And when I was meditating this morning, he brought it back to me, how my grandmother, I didn't know it at that time, was meditating. I thought she was just praying. That's what they called it, praying. But she was actually meditating, and she used to hum this, and it was a meditation. I realized this morning it was a meditation, and Spirit was saying, your grandmother used to meditate. So when you're speaking to them, they're all doing it. It's just called different names, right? Which is why I try not to get hung up on the names. But she used to always sing this, yes, 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 yes. And then she would go into, yes to your will, yes to your will. And she would just meditate. Yes, 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 yes. And so she was opening herself to that higher consciousness, that whatever your will is, yes to your way, yes to your way. And she used to say it over and over again until something would come. And so I kind of wanted to, even though I was meditating and I was using this whole Zen thing and this meditation music, I started to chant too, instead of my usual chant that I am, that I am, I am, that I am, and then just kind of allowing myself to release so that I can hear. He brought this to me, that it doesn't matter what you say, you just have to be open. You have to be open enough to release yourself from whatever it is that's connecting to you and say, no, 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 no. I am that I am. I am what you say that I am. I am what the Creator said. And so when I was doing that, I started to get a visual of not only God, but my angels, my ancestors, my spiritual guides, all coming around me and lifting me up. And I just began to hear them say, you are so good. You are so good. Everything you've gone through, no matter what anyone has done or said, you are so good. We already see and know the truth of who you are and how everything will turn out. And it wanted me to tell you, everyone that's on the line, see, when you go into that place, they are all lifting you up and letting you know you are so good. That is the truth of you. You are so good. You are so perfect. You have already been created in that perfection. Embrace it. Know it to be true. by studying it, by sitting with it. The same way you study God is the same way you study yourself. Man, know thyself. Not because he wants you to be perfect for him, but so that you come into the awareness that you are already perfect. And this life that you experience does not take away from the goodness and the perfection that you are. All right? So I'm going to let you go. I know we're running out of time. We're out of time. But come back again. I'll be here Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I want to thank you again. Please share this message. Sometimes I'm getting things I don't know who it's for. It may not be for those that can come right now. It may be for someone that can get it later. So please share it. I'm sure you know other people's stories more than I. Send it to them. I hope they can watch it. If you need to reach out to me, please. I don't always have Messenger on because I get bombarded with, stuff. But I turn it on at least once or twice a day to see who's sending me something, to see if I need to respond. So in the meantime, love yourself. Have compassion for yourself. Understand who you are and appreciate yourself in the same way as God has. A plus B can always equal C if you just know who you are. All right? See you next time. Love you. Peace and love.